For the first time since the 29th of September 2023, QPR are out of the relegation zone, with a second half comeback against Rotherham United, lifting Rangers for now out of the bottom three. This was a much needed result, especially ahead of a very demanding, challenging March fixture list, although it was very bittersweet that evening in light of the news of the legendary Stan Bowles' passing. I'm Hoopsa. I chat about QPR before and after every QPR fixture, and there is plenty to discuss in this one, so let's get straight into it. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. With Rotherham at home presenting a sixth opportunity for QPR to escape the bottom three this season, plenty of Rangers fans were expecting a predictable capitulation. Whilst most other clubs would be rubbing their hands together at the prospect of playing a side that is bottom of the table and adrift from safety by 14 points, one that has let in more goals than the last time they were relegated from this division, and one that hasn't won away from home since November 2022, that was just not the case for QPR fans. Because by this point, we know the kind of performance that this bizarrely inconsistent QPR side puts out in these types of games. And the more things you can find to suggest that it should be an easy match on paper, the more nervous I felt about this one. The best bad omen was yet to come though, with rumours on Friday that Elias Chair had either been sentenced to 1 year in a Belgian prison for fracturing a truck driver's skull with a rock, or according to Ryan Dilks, was in fact already behind bars. A situation that, if true, surely spelt relegation for QPR. But the club were quick to correct with an official statement stating that legal proceedings had not been concluded yet, confirmed little more than 24 hours later by Marty Cifuentes naming Chair in his starting 11. But that didn't stop everyone from The Sun to the Daily Mail to TalkSport from putting out bizarrely inaccurate reports. While Chair retained his place in the side that beat Bristol, Cifuentes made 3 changes elsewhere, with Colback replacing Sam Field, Joe Hodge swapping for an under-the-weather Lucas Anderson, and Michael Frey making his first start for the club in place of Lyndon Dykes. Though notably, our new right-back Jimmy Dunn kept his place in the backline ahead of Reggie Cannon. The match started how I imagined many of us feared it would, and that was with QPR under the cosh. This seems to be a theme for QPR at Loftus Road this season, and it doesn't matter where the opposing team is in the table, but it normally does happen. Tom Eaves would have the first shot of the game, reinforced by shots from 3 other Rotherham players over the next 5 minutes. And so it was unsurprising after this one-way traffic that barely 1/10 into this match, Rotherham opened the scoring. It started with an uncharacteristic slicing of the ball from Elias Chair in his own half in an attempt to play a long ball down the channel to Michael Frey to run onto, with his mishit ball instead lingering in the air for Steve Cook to deal with, but Sean Morrison had other ideas, rising to the ball first and nodding it into the path of Tom Eaves, who was able to scoop the ball over Begovic with ease for his second early goal in 2 consecutive matches. A quick check of the scores elsewhere revealed that every result that could be going against us was, and at this point we could now take a glimpse into the future. Rotherham to stodgily see out a 1-0 lead for the rest of the 90 minutes, gifting them their first away win in 29 matches. QPR fans questioning why Elias Chair would be put in the starting lineup given the week that he's had, and Hoopsa to post a doom-laden post-match reaction stating that relegation is surely confirmed. Except this time, the crystal ball was wrong, because we dug deep and we responded. It was by no means instant. There was still a return to uncomfortable playing out of the back, a cumbersome and awkward first half performance from Isaac Hayden in the middle of the park, and still some unbearable failed attempts of Kenneth Powell to beat the first man with a cross. But we persisted, we grew into the game, and for the remainder of the half it was only really QPR attacking. Chris Willock had his first go on 13 minutes, and Michael Frey's glancing header was unfortunate not to find the back of the net after a great ball from Jack Colback, with Johansson making another excellent stop for the away side. 2 minutes later, Hodge would have a powerful shot denied, Isaac Hayden would have his shot blocked, and Elias Chair looked like he'd squared his debt when his pinpoint cross to the far post was nodded on by Steve Cook, but again he was kept out by Johansson. And Cook and Johansson would repeat this routine just before half-time again, much to the frustration of a tense Loftus Road. It's a strange contrast, isn't it? The league's worst defence shored up by the league's best goalkeeper. you have to wonder how many goals this side would have let in without him between the sticks. With his contract up in the summer, I'd love to see him as a keeper that we go for in replacement of Begovic, but I find it hard to imagine that he would be short even of Premier League suitors. I was really pleased to see that Martí Cifuentes learnt his lesson from the Stoke City match, because despite us notably growing into the game after Rotherham's opener, he still opted to make 2 changes this time. With Field and Smyth replacing Hayden and Hodge, the pair both booked and the middle of the park in need of reinforcement. Isaac Hayden has played much more football than I expected a player of his injury record to have by this stage, so I think this was a sensible decision ahead of the tricky quadruple of Leicester, West Brom, Borough and Sunderland next month. The second half didn't start as smoothly as we ended the first. Eves would have another 2 opportunities to double his goal tally, but thankfully put them both wide. And Jack Colback would pick up his 10th yellow of the season for cynically stopping a Rotherham counter-attack, meaning he becomes the latest of our central defensive midfielders to miss out on 2 games via suspension. We kept digging though, and on 61 minutes we found our reward via super sub Paul Smyth. The goal started very similarly to our goal away at Bristol City last weekend, with Chris Willock picking up the ball on the halfway line and driving into space and then neatly slotting the ball through to a cooling Paul Smyth. I spoke last week about how many players could learn from the scanning of Lucas Anderson for his assist to Elias Chair, and this situation looked primed for that too, but Paul Smyth had other ideas, cheekily sneaking the ball beneath Johansson for his first goal since Cardiff at home on New Year's Day. Game on, Loftus Road erupted and we shifted up another gear again. Chair, who was fantastic since his early mistake, had 2 chances in the next 5 minutes. And Jimmy Dunn, not only defensively sound, but also overlapping Chris Willock, dropping body feints, and getting into the box, narrowly headed wide from a Chair cross. Aside from an Odofin header, thankfully saved in the corner by Begovic, it was one-way traffic from QPR this time, and like Rotherham's dominance in the opening minutes of the first half, that suggested only one thing: another QPR goal. And it so thankfully came on the 75th minute, and it was like a QPR goal of old. First with Chair slotting the ball through a sea of red shirts to Chris Willock on the edge of the box, the whole home support collectively shouting shoot, and Willock obliging with a powerful shot that even Johansson couldn't save. A fantastic goal by Willock after another improved performance, and with the help of substitutes Lakesh, Dykes and Anderson, we saw the remainder of the game out even in spite of 8 minutes of tense added time. Now, as so often seems to be the case when we pick up a result this season, the positive impact of this win was slightly diluted by many other teams around us picking up points. From 14th in the league downwards, only Birmingham, Rotherham and Stoke City lost. But the Potters dropping points meant that for the first time in 4.5 months, QPR climbed up to 21st, rising above Stoke City on goal difference. We know that this is likely to be temporary, especially with the March that we have coming up, and there have been a couple of people that have said it was only Rotherham. But I don't personally see it like that. This is a big win and there are many positives to take. For the first time this season, we won a game after going a goal down. We beat a team in the bottom 3. And most importantly, after failing to do so in the past 5 opportunities, we won a match that could lift us out of the relegation zone. There were some great performances here too, especially in the second half. We were solid defensively after that early error. Chair and Willock looked like the duo of old at times. Colback was an absolute engine in the middle, making his absence over the next 2 games a real shame, though the contributions of Dunn and Sam Field again, 2 players that we had presumed would be fringe players at this point, should help us to manage. And that's now 1 loss in 7 games with 4 wins and 2 draws, which is our best record since Michael Beale's departure. It is likely that from here we will yo-yo up and down, in and out of the relegation zone, and it's probably going to go right down to the wire at this point. But with Saturday's result, we've made sure that we have a say in that outcome. Of course, as I say, the result was of less importance to QPR fans by the end of the day, with the news of the passing of the legendary Stan Bowles. His legacy will forever be a part of QPR's DNA, so I wanted to end this video by saying rest in peace, Stan. If you haven't seen already, Loft Flags are raising funds for a memorial flag for Stan Bowles. The target has already been met, but excess funds will be going to a charity of the family's choice. So if you would like to contribute to that, I will put a link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching as always. Do let me know your own thoughts in the comments below, whether that's about the match or memories of Stambols. And I'll see you later this week for my Leicester away preview. Cheers.